hasn't dropped many, and Alan Donald won't be amused.
Well, he had plenty of time to sight it. It went very high in the air. No problems for him. He gets there, both hands to it, and really should have held on. That's a straightforward catch for any deep fielder.
Oh, that was a nasty one. That, I think that was helmet or visor. Made a nasty sound.
Well, he's been hit on the inside of the thigh by Donald and hasn't shown any sort of reaction. He's been now cracked on the helmet, and again Nixon McLean stands up straight and takes it.
Yeah, that was right on the scone, as they say. And he's caught, is he? Yes, must be. Well, that was good bowling by Sean Pollock. He softened up his man, and then he produced one that looked like the slower ball well up to the batsman, and he was reaching and feeling for it, got the edge and carried through to Mark Boucher, and Nixon McLean is out. The first wicket of the second day has fallen.
Perhaps he should have just taken a little time to compose himself after that blow in the helmet, but he was ready for Pollock very, very quickly, and that's outstanding fast bowling. Pollock's fourth wicket, and McLean, a good innings by him, gone for 28. Caught Boucher, bowled Pollock. It's 255 for 8.
Curtly Ambrose is the new batsman after the dismissal of Nixon McLean. Oh, that might have been caught. It's going to run away down towards the third man boundary. Gary Kirsten trying to get round there, cut it off, but I think it is 4 runs. It is indeed, and this will be interesting to see. It went between wicketkeeper and slip, first slip. I think it might have been Boucher's catch. In all fairness to all and sundry, it dropped short. Boucher did very well to try and save it.
Very awkward indeed for both keeper and slip.
Appeal for LBW, but I think we'll find that might have been going down the leg side.
Courtney Walsh is quite happy to get to the non-striker's end. Ball which went through him a while ago seemed to die, and it's the one that brought the appeal. You can see going down the leg side there.
Is he caught? He is. That's the end of the innings. Well, Ron Lewis again tries to have a go at Alan Donald, and he succeeds in pulling it from well outside the off stump straight into the hands of mid-on, and the West Indies innings has come to an end with the addition of only 12 runs from their overnight situation, and the South Africans have wrapped it up as they were hoping to do.
Really should have cut that. Had to drag it from a long way outside the off stump. Hit it pretty well, but found mid-on. But he had to drag it from far too wide, as he did to the previous one. Cut shot may have been the better option. But he goes for 12. Useful innings by Roy Lewis. And the West Indies, disappointingly, all out now for 261.
So South Africa doing a very good job in just over half an hour of the second morning. Wrapping up the West Indies innings, taking the last 3 wickets, but just 12 runs added by the West Indies. McLean taking his score from 23 to 28. Ambrose a duck, and Lewis, the last man out, caught by Tabrugga at mid-on off Donald for 12. 261 all out. Thanks mainly to the partnership between Chanderpaul and Hooper of 91, and then Chanderpaul and Williams putting on 45. A few useful ones down the order, but the innings folding very quickly on the second morning. Mainly due to some tremendous bowling again from Sean Pollock, who got those first 3 wickets at the start of the test match, and adding 2 more to take 5 for 54 from 23. Donald took the last wicket. Good support from Cullis, Tabrugga and Simcox.
Off the mark. Always a nice feeling.
Gary Kirsten wanted the run, and Adam Bacher very correctly sending him back. The gully was roaring around there, and there was certainly no chance of a run. But the height of the West Indian bowlers, and he slips, but there's no real difficulty because he was only a couple of meters down. Another good stroke, hits it into mid-wicket. Nobody there, as Robin pointed out earlier, so there's at least 2 and probably 3. 3 it will be.
This is Walsh. It's a good shot from Kirsten. That is his strong area. He normally hits it just a little more backward of square, which will indicate the pace of the pitch, but the first boundary for the South Africans.
Yes, Robin has seen Gary Kirsten as much as anybody, and he will know that Gary Kirsten, when he hits the ball like this, he's playing well, because when he doesn't, his bottom hand comes in a bit much and he hits it backward of square, sort of inside out, as it were. Here, look at that beautiful stroke in front of square, and that will give him enormous confidence.
That's a tremendous delivery and out. Well, that levels it. Courtney Walsh now catches Malcolm Marshall as the highest wicket taker of all time. Disappointment for Adam Bacher, and the West Indies have struck.
Yes, a brilliant delivery. Adam Bacher's feet not really in the right line, but look there, it's straightened on him and in fact left him a little bit. The wicketkeeper getting his first catch, and David Shepherd having no real problems in giving that one out. So Adam Bacher leaves for 1, and the South Africans score 10 for 1.
New man in, Jacques Kallis.
You got 2 left.
South Africa's number 3, established himself in that position now.
That's runs. So 3 to Gary Kirsten. He's hit that well for nothing. He gets back. It's beautifully picked up by Walsh.
That's unlucky because it was a good shot, full face of the bat, and
he really hit it crisply and sweetly. Look at Courtney Walsh. Fantastic. Look at that. Behind his back, switches from left hand to right, underhands the ball in. I think he would have been home if it hit the stumps anyway, but terrific hand-eye coordination. Oof. That is fantastic shot from Jacques Kallis. And punished.
yes, I'm not, just a long hop really. I'm not quite sure that he intended to drop it short. If he did, it didn't get up as much as he would have liked, and Jacques Kallis had plenty of time.
Oh, it's got through him, and 4 runs. Well, there's a perfect illustration. He finally gets one to be in sort of vaguely the right area.
Normally you find when the batsman plays or gets beaten like that, it's the extra pace that beats him more than anything. And that came back quite sharply at a fair pace. Fortune favours Jacques Kallis on this occasion.
Yes, that did nip back. That's well hit, nice and straight. And the chase from Ambrose, 2 runs.
Nixon McLean is the man operating from the corner drive in, and this is played away very nicely, backward of square on the onside, perfectly timed, and it raced away to the boundary.
Quite an interesting approach here from Jacques Kallis. He really hasn't played a single defensive shot against Nixon McLean. He's obviously trying to assert his dominance. This was a really good cricket shot.
Turned away again nicely on the onside through the mid-wicket area. Backward square leg chases. They've got 2. And so 6 runs from the over. South Africa 36 for 1. This is a beautiful shot, but Chanderpaul equal to the occasion in the covers. Tremendous stop from him.
Yes, he's been in the gully earlier on, now moving in front of square. Look at that. That was the best goalkeeper save you could see.
Short and cracked away for 4 runs. Just in front of square. Gary Kirsten very quick onto that.
There's nothing better for a batsman than to be able to hook a quick bowler, and specifically one of such class as Courtney Walsh, in front of square. Look at that position. Gary Kirsten is certainly looking in awesome form.
Oh, and that was clever bowling from Courtney Walsh. It's one of the oldest tricks in the game, is to move the short leg back onto the boundary at square leg, set the trap, and then bowl a Yorker or a very full delivery. And that's exactly what Walsh did there, and it caught Gary out.
It's the second time. It's the only time that Gary Kirsten, in fact, has looked a little bit shaky, is on that slower ball.
Soft hands again, all the way along the ground, past the 3rd slip, and that backward point tidies up. 2 runs, though, to Gary Kirsten. So 6 runs again from that over, 43 for 1. This is nicely driven through the covers. Beautiful shot by Jacques Cullis, and it's gone for 4.
Once again, McLean tried to conduct the double bluff and had the man out there, and Brian Lara was moving him around. Then he tried to dig it in and bowl a Yorker, but he didn't get it quite right. Instead, it was a half volley. Jacques Callis played it beautifully because it was leaving him off the seam as he played. But look at the extension of the bat through the ball, and that cut off any movement off the seam, and he got a beautiful boundary. South Africa moving on to 47 for 1, and he's, as you can see, got 21 of them.
A little lap shot from Jacques Cullis, and he'll be able to get 2 for it. Backward square leg has to run away to his right. Nice bit of fielding, brings up the 50. Field for LBW here, and umpire Mitchley says no.
I think very important. Just watch the line from which Nixon McLean is coming. First important thing is he's about in the middle, and it was short, therefore the ball had to pitch outside leg stump. And this is one of the reasons fast bowlers go around the wicket to left-handers, because it was a good delivery. It beat the bat, and that there was no chance of the LBW.
That's a good shot, nicely timed. I don't think it'll get all the way. No, it'll just be 2. That's nicely played. That will go for 4. That's a superb shot.
He knows the man is back behind square. He doesn't try and hit it too hard. It's just a short arm jab through mid-wicket. But he's perfectly positioned for the shot.
Nicely into line. $61 for 1. It's a good shot. That will get there, I think. There's a chase for extra cover. He might haul it in. And, oh, a bit clumsily, but he does it. And saves an extra run. It's only 3.
In fact, I'm not so sure that the field is not indicating 4 to the umpire.
Well, isn't that nice to see? Shepherd wasn't looking around, wasn't looking to ask. And they, as I say, a bit clumsily, and there, he just touches the rope with his toe. He then throws it in, He signals to umpire Shepherd. Shepherd signals 4, and then Shepherd himself just gave the fielder a gesture as to say thank you very much indeed. Oh, what a good delivery. There's appeal for LBW here, and I think it's quite a good appeal.
Well, that's the classic one. Pitching around about off stump, straightening. And really, that's close. That's very close. It's going to shave the off stump, if anything. Benefit of the doubt going to Jacques Kallis.
That's 4. Classic cut shot from Kallis.
Yes, if he hasn't got the googly, then as a batsman, what you're looking to do against the leg spinner, anything slightly short, you want to be quickly onto the cut and take full advantage of it.
That's runs.
Good shout. Very close, but umpire Cyril Mitchley unmoved and characteristically sort of turns away. There's the sweep, and it was straight.
It's a good shot.
Well, once again, Gary Kirsten, I think you can see when Gary Kirsten is playing well is when he hits the ball nicely straight through the covers. This again was a shot which went in front of square. 76 for 1.
Oh, that's a beautiful delivery. The edge will run down towards the boundary, but not all the way. Oh. That pitched outside leg.
And I think there were 2 sounds. I mean, you could hear Cyril saying pitched outside leg, a long way outside leg. No, missed his bat for sure. Just 2 sounds that hit both legs.
Full toss, and that'll bring Jacques Kallis 4 runs and take him to within 3 of a half century. Not missing out, cannot let those sort of balls go by without being punished, and he does so here.
Yeah, that again looked as though it was the top spinner coming out of the back of the hand. Watch if you can see, and this is what Jacques Kallis would have seen, and he didn't need to look too much because it was a full toss.
Whoopsie! My goodness, that just took off the glove.
Now that was a brilliant piece of bowling. It was a much quicker ball which made Jacques Kallis think it was short. Then it fizzed through, got the glove, and he was lucky not to be caught. End of the over, 85 for 1.
Here's Walsh to Kallis. And that's Kallis's half century. Just over 2 hours he's been batting, Jacques Kallis, and acknowledges the generous applause from around the ground with a wave of the bat. Oh, that's hit beautifully in the middle of the bat for Gary Kirsten, and that should reach the boundary. No, well, it would have. It's a good chase by Wallace, and a huge throw. 94 for 1. Good shot.
Gary Kirsten, and this might well run away to the boundary. Down at third man. It does indeed.
Well, that must be a little bit frustrating for Lewis, because he's tossed it up into that rough outside the left-handers off stump, and it hasn't gone exactly where Gary Kirsten has aimed, but it's gone away for 4.
Yes, he's... Gary Kirsten decides to open his shoulders. It's in the air, but fielder could not get underneath it, and he gets away with it. A miscue by Gary Kirsten. He's caught. He's caught at second slip. Very good catch indeed. Just thrown away, and Jacques Cullis is the second South African wicket to go down. He's gone for 53. It's 102 for 2 now.
Just a bit of extra bounce from Courtney Walsh, and that's why he has become the leading West Indian wicket taker. A brilliant catch by Williams at second slip, moving low to his right.
Well, it's normally Carl Hooper that is at second slip. Brian Lara is at the first slip position, but with Carl Hooper off the field at the demise of Jacques Cullis, who was batting so well on 53 and was brilliantly caught by Stuart Williams at second slip. So he just whacks it away for 4.
Well, I was starting to mention earlier how Cullinan could be a crucial part of the South African batting in this series, more for the fact that he can play the quicker men as well as anybody.
And here he's got another one away. This might not quite reach the boundary. Chanderpaul is chasing hard after it. They're going to get 3. Said Walsh. At Cullinan, is he caught down the leg side? No, says up. Oh, he's given him out. It took a long while. I think he was waiting for Cullinan to walk, which he didn't do, and then umpire Shepherd said, no mate, I know you've hit it, on your way, and Walsh strikes again.
Well, I think the slow motion replay will show that this was the correct decision, and if you notice umpire Shepherd's arm, it came out initially, then he thought, you know, he was a bit undecided, and finally I think was turned by the reaction of the West Indian fielders. But you see quite clearly here that I think this comes off the face of the bat, and a good decision in the end.
Well, the crowd watching on the big electronic scoreboard don't think it was out, but we'll get it again in a moment. Nelson has struck 111 for 3. The captain, Hansi Cronje, comes to the wicket.
It's a good shot from Kirsten. He timed it nicely. I think it'll go all the way for 4. No, ball almost slowed up as I said that, so 2 more to Kirsten. He's begun to find the middle of the bat a bit more often just recently. 116 for 3.
Through. Always 4 once it past the fielder.
Courtney Walsh just affording Kirsten a little bit too much width there, and it's not a half volley by any means, but he's able to let the arms flow, let the arms and the bat get away from his body, and he's been there long enough to be able to middle it. Kirsten on 49. Make that 50. It's been a good solid innings from Gary Kirsten. He worked hard through a period when it wasn't all going for him, and deservedly gets the applause of this Wanderers crowd.
Just a couple of fault shots, twice against Lewis. He hoiked him, or tried to hoik him, from outside the off stump. Once he missed and it went past the keeper, the googly, and then he just managed to clear mid-on with a skied miss-hit. But apart from those, he's been very solid indeed. Typical Gary Kirsten innings.
That's a good shot. Down the ground, no one's going to... Oh, yes, they are. Every time I say it's going to go for 4, the ball slows up and it's almost stopped. Just rests up against the rope. So it is 4 to Cronje. And a very fine stroke indeed. A good straight drive. 129 for 3. Nice timing. Good balance. Kirsten wanted 3. and his captain said no, and his captain was right. He's got that away as well. That might go all the way. Yes, it will. So Kirsten beginning to stride forward now since he went past his 50. And the end of quite an expensive over. 135 now for 3.
Starts with a full toss and it's smashed away for 4. Manna from heaven for Hansi Cronje that. He's a good player of spin bowling, and this is quite a brave move to bowl Lewis to him, but anybody might have been able to dispatch that for 4.
Yes, certainly Hansi Cronje didn't bother to get his feet into too much of a position. He just stood up and whacked it through the covers into the gap.
And this will be at least 3 of them.
Brilliant running there by Hansi Cronje. He knew there was a chance, and unfortunately for Gary, it wasn't cold runs. We heard a nick, we heard the sound, and you can see him glancing up at Cyril Mitchley. I wonder whether he did get a touch on this. No, he didn't. It was the pad, quite thick onto the pad, so the right decision by Cyril, and that's possibly why it also never carried to the boundary. 3 leg byes.
This is a cheeky single. Nicely played by Gary Kirsten, away through mid-wicket. This is racing away towards the boundary, seemingly almost gathering pace there. That's how well he timed it.
Well, Gary Kirsten has been particularly solid today, and if there's one particular shot that he's played well, it's this one. He's getting in so well into position for it. He times it well, and as Trevor has just said, he didn't really hit it at all, but the timing was so good that it raced away for 4.
He's out. Oh dear, that's a bit unfortunate for Gary Kirsten. It wasn't a particularly good delivery. He looked as though he was going to guide it away backward a square on the offside, but it must have got the bottom edge and down into the stumps, and Gary Kirsten is out.
Yes, we can't really say bad luck, because he's played this shot a couple of times and has looked fairly vulnerable, and here he goes again, playing it across the line, pushing your bottom hand through, but nevertheless unlucky, because as he drops his bat in dismay at the ball hitting the stumps, it bounced down. It could so easily have missed the stumps, and this very, very valuable innings of 62 ends with Gary Kirsten, and the score 154 for 4.
Cry of support from the crowd for the arrival of Jonty Rhodes, ever popular. There he goes. It doesn't often deter him, the leg spin, and he gets this one away nicely, but there's also a man on the boundary at backward square leg, so he only gets a single. He was thinking of coming back for the second, for the throw. He's that quick that he can often beat the throw, but he slipped at the end of the pitch.
Yes, I don't have too many doubts as that he would have gone for the second run, but whoops, there he goes.
This is going to go away through the covers. Seemed as though there was some pad there first and then the bat, so it must have just flicked the pad and then come onto the middle of the bat, because he gets 3 runs for it.
His pads have got a very good meat on them. But if you watch this closely here, it was a half shot for LBW as the ball comes in, hits the pad first and then very firmly onto the pad. 3 runs.
Grows, and that's a full toss, and dispatched to the boundary, just as it should be. Good shot, full toss, but they still got to be put away. Rhodes does it well. inches away from a diving Lewis. It just seemed, the ball seemed to stay in the air for so long. They'll look for two and get it comfortably. If he gets that past him, he'll get a couple, but he doesn't. What's well fielded, and just tweaked a shoulder there. Cronje's turn to get the sweep in. The man isn't there for Hansi Cronje, so he's able to get two. He moves on to 25, and the score to 183 for 4. That's nicely timed. These two very quick between the wickets. Oh, that might be out. It is, yes. Nixon McLean strikes. Bit of pace, full of length. Rhodes caught on the back foot, and I don't think much doubt about that.
Well, you said it, Robin. I think the secret here is that the pace beat him, caught on the back foot, hasn't got time to come forward again, caught on the crease. Bit of movement back at the right-hander, make sure that he misses it. And I'm afraid Jonty's gone for 17.
South Africa now, 185 for 5.
Yeah.
Sean Pollock, 25 years old, 26 matches. Just 5 runs off 1,000 runs in Test cricket, averaging 32, pretty useful, coming in at number 7. It's a long chase for mid-on. He'll haul it in though, and good running by Hansi Cronje. Good cricket all round.
No one.
His second run.
This is Curtly Ambrose, and Curtly Ambrose bowling from the call-it drive end. What happened to this one?
What Trevor has just said about the break almost came true, in that Hansi Cronje has to start again. His feet didn't move all that well first ball.
Again, there is, I think, some bat there. There was an appeal, certainly. The ball went along the ground, but I think they might have felt that there was some pad first. I'll have to have a look. Certainly he's now looking less confident than he was before the break.
Well, there was a shot, and yet it didn't even seem to touch the pad. It was the outside edge of the bat. Once again, no carry in the delivery, and what a face. I think he should go for the Oscar there. There's so much pain in that expression.
Nicely played through mid-wicket. Mid-on has to go and retrieve it. There's time for 2. And those 2 runs take Sean Pollock past 1,000 runs in Test match cricket. That's always a good milestone to get to. Average of 32, not bad for a fast bowler. Well, that's not a very good shot at all by Sean Pollock. A bit of rush of blood there, and he gets away with it. He gets a single. It brings up the 200. He was a bit lucky. It was not a good shot. Ends the over, 200 for 5.
Come on!
No ball called. Don't know whether it would have changed the shot, but he certainly had a go at that. Gets a glare from Courtney Walsh. Big appeal here for LBW, but I think there were 2 noises, and one of them might have been bat. And Curtly Ambrose knows that if it hadn't been for that, I think it was all over. Good bowling.
Sean Pollock's looking a little unsettled. Fine bowling, of course, a bouncer, and then this one right up in the block hole. Thick edge, and once again, the toe end of it.
Field for LBW again. I think it might have been going down the leg side. The leg by. This is good bowling by Walsh.
Classic over. Really fine bowling.
This is Ambrose now. Another good delivery. It played well, though, by Sean Pollock. It was he attempted Yorker, but he dug it out well and got some timing on it too, and as a result of it, he's been able to get 3 runs straight back past the bowler. Hansi Cronje has come for the run. Pollock sent him back. Unfortunately, there was plenty of time for Hansi to come to a halt and get back, which is an indication that there was probably a run there anyway. Down to third man. Just be the one for Sean Pollock. So he will keep the strike at the end of that over. 207 for 5. That's nicely played. Just backward of the square leg umpire for a single. Courtney Walsh, who's taken more first-class wickets than any other player that is involved. 1,625, an average of 21.9. A healthy haul of 106 wickets in the English county game, of course, helped him. Alan Donald second. So the end of the over, 208 for 5.
Ooh, now how close was that to rolling onto the stumps? Seen it happen once already, like Gary Kirsten got out in this fashion.
Yes, Ambrose has really been disciplined in this spell. Hasn't wavered at all from perfect line and length, just short of a length, just outside the off stump.
Oh no, that is not a very good shot. Sean Pollock, he actually had a strange innings for him. He normally plays with a very straight bat, but that's not the first time he's played that stroke, and he must be kicking himself. Courtney Walsh isn't.
Well, I don't know how much of this wicket you can attribute to Ambrose as well. Ambrose has tied Sean Pollock down. He hasn't given him anything to hit, and very similar to delivery to the one that nearly caused his dismissal earlier, sees the end of Sean Pollock. 209 for 6. Pollock gone for 11.
Mark Boucher, 21 years old. Highest score of 78, so pleasant memories of this particular ground. That was in that magnificent record-breaking stand with Uncle Pat Simcox. This time, Cronje pulls the ball away through mid-wicket in a controlled manner, one must add. That's nicely timed. It'll be a chase for cover point, but he won't catch it up. That's a good stroke from Hansi Cronje.
Just that little bit of width offered. Cronje takes full advantage, though. He actually times this pretty well. Sparing dive from Chandrapur.
That squared him up, but he's got runs here. Probably 2. 2 it is. Bouncer, little look from Walsh.
He's got those eyes that can give you quite a meaningful look as well. Sylvester Clark also had similar type of glare.
Imagine if Muralitharan was a quick bowler. Umpires are getting together. Sun